Good morning, brothers and sisters. Today I'm going to be working on my brakes. It's going to be a first time experience. I've never done it before. Many people are telling me not to do it because you can mess it up and whatnot. You don't know how hard it is till you try. So we're going to try it on the hardest one with the sensor, and we're going to see where it gets us. We still need to get a few tools because apparently there's a piston that you need to push back on the brakes that I was unaware of. So we have to go get a C-clamp for it, and then just a couple extra bolts and screwdrivers that I don't have, since I'm starting to do a whole lot more car stuff and I don't have the equipment for it. So first off, I'm going to go down to the gas station, 2 gas stations actually, and then after that we're going to go down to Walmart, get whatever tools they have there, and if they don't have any of the tools that I want, probably go down to AutoZone, and I'll take you guys with me. So we're hitting up the second gas station. The reason why I'm stopping by 2 gas stations is because I only have $5 on me cash. I usually keep it all on my debit because if I have a lot of cash, I tend to spend it. So I'm gonna go down this gas station because they actually accept credit. Yeah, so today's Christmas, forgot to say that, and I just realized when I was driving past here, like, there's no cars. That means something. There's always cars here. Then I looked at the store, and look at that. I think it's closed. Fortunately, I think it's closed. There's just no way. I slid my card and everything saying to get ready to pump. Look what I see over here. They legit put a lock on this thing. Why do you need to put a lock? I mean, just let me get my gas. Come on, I'm paying you. So, I think I'm just gonna have to start working on the brakes. I know no places are open right now. Alright. Good news is I did find a place that has good premium gas. Arco right behind me. Good gas, premium, decent cost, not that cheap, but whatever. I can live with it. I'd rather drive my car around today than do absolutely nothing.
I feel like Escobar. I feel like Escobar.
Alright guys, now I'm off to work. How you put on a seatbelt? I forgot. I'm off to work. I'll see you guys after. That moment when you're out of work. Hey guys. Hey. Guess what time it is? It's finally, the light didn't kick in time. It's finally time to finally do the brakes on this car. Oh my goodness, finally have some time off of work. Got a lot of things going on still, but I think I have a good chance of doing the brakes tonight as long as my dad lets me take out his car.
I feel like my name is Escobar. I go extra hard, extra regular, but I'm upper echelon. Especially with that credit card, I be playing hard. It's like I'm moving weight where I gotta set the bar. And hell no, I ain't playing fair, I had to make it here. Anytime of day I'm watching what you're saying, yeah. Only pictures of where he was playing in.
Hey, what's going on, guys? We're finally doing the brakes. I just did those brakes right there. Those are with the sensors, finally finished them. I know I look like a goofball, but I just spent so much money trying to figure out how to do this. Got even this thingy. I look like a nerd. Don't get me wrong, I look like a mega nerd. But I finally did these brakes, and I feel really accomplished. I'm hoping once I do the other ones, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do it. I didn't want to show you guys, like looking at YouTube videos and telling you guys how to do it. I don't think that's practical. So I'm gonna show you guys the easiest way to replace your brakes for beginners. So let's get to it. So right now we're gonna take off all 4 bolts. Well, not 4. How much is this? 1, 2, 3, 5 bolts. We're gonna take out all 5 bolts. I already lifted up the car. If you guys don't know how to do that, let me know. All right, guys. So I just got this T-looking wrench. I'm gonna take out all the bolts right here. There's a total of 5 bolts. I already got the car on a wooden plank. It's not a wooden plank, you know, just a piece of wood, because the car is too low for me to jack the car. So jacked up the car. There was a piece that you have to buy, a BMW piece. I'll show you guys right now. So yeah, that's the piece that's in here right now, that's in between the jack and the car. I did put a piece of wood like other YouTubers suggested. I didn't think that was a good idea, so I ended up ordering this piece because I needed other screwdrivers and stuff to do this job. I'm going to put a list of things you need right here. That is a 7mm, and that is also 7mm, and that's the lubricant we use for the brakes. Other than that, these are all really the tools that you need. You don't really need that much. Make sure you guys have a good C caliper, because it helps you put back the piston, and it also allows you to put back the brakes, so it helps you both ways. Make sure you invest into a good C clamp. If you already have a C clamp, that's pretty good. You don't need to go buy one. I had to go pick this up. I already had most of these tools besides that came with the brake, and you guys should be good to go. It's pretty easy. So at this point, all the bolts are loosened, and we're going to lift up the car a little bit more, so when I take out all the screws, the wheel is not going to just jam up. So now I lifted up the car, and all the bolts are loosened. This one's already out. That's not really a smart thing to do, just in case it may fall down. But yeah, so I lifted up the car, and I'm about to take out the rest of the bolts. Alright, can I come here real quick? Yeah, so right now I just removed the rim. I recommend if you put the rim underneath. You never know if your jackets could just fall down, and if you're underneath trying to take out the calipers, because there are a few screws I'm going to be showing you shortly, it's not worth, you know, the car falling. It did come with jack stands, but for BMWs there is no space to jack the car other than this spot and the rear spot. So just put the tie underneath, which I'll show you how I did right now. So right now, as you can tell, I just put in the rim underneath the car. So worst case scenario, it's going to ruin the side skirt if the car falls, but I'd rather ruin the side skirt than kill myself. So you just put the rim underneath here, and you should be good if the jack ends up failing. Alright guys, so what we're installing here are some Brembo brakes. These aren't the calipers, just the brakes, so I'm not trying to say I'm adding performance. But you know, Brembo is a trustworthy company, and they probably will last a lot longer than some off-market companies. So what we need to take out first, once we remove the whole rim, is this piece right here. This piece, once you push back the piston, it's going to make this whole thing loose, even when you tighten the two screws on the top and bottom, which I'll be showing you guys in a little bit. So what you have to do now is just take off this part. How I like to do is just shove a screwdriver or anything in between here, and just push toward the what's it called, the rotors. Wow. Well, that came out a lot easier than it should have. It's going to be a little bit harder than that. This first time doing it, I don't know how it came out that easy. But you know, I'll take it. Less hard eggs, the better. So right now, there's this little cap right here on this. It's covering up a screw. There's one here, and there's one on the bottom. You guys will know it's literally right on top of each other. So I'm going to remove this one real quick. Alright, so that part just came out. It looks like this. There's going to be one on the bottom as well. And then I'll show you guys the screw in a little bit. So these are the two things I removed, the two caps, top and bottom. Right now I'm going to be showing you guys the screws that it was covering. That's it. So as you can tell, this is a 7mm, what's it called? Allen. So this is the part we need. This is, I believe, is the male side. This is the female side. We need the male in this case. I thought it was the female, so I bought the screwdriver and I put it in here. And no, this is the wrong side. We don't need this. We need this side. That's what's inside the caliper. This is a 7mm. This works just as good as this, but it's going to be a little bit harder trying to screw it out. But this is doable if you guys have this around your house instead of buying one of these. So I'm going to put this into the hole, and I'm going to use my tool to basically unscrew it. So I just need to, oh, this is the wrong one. Yep, most definitely. So I basically use this tool, put the male inside of it, and then use the female to get onto this since it is a 7mm. Alright, so I put the 7mm in there, and then you just push it upwards until it feels a little bit loosened. And once it's loosened, it should just start spinning. So you should keep spinning it until basically it's just super loose. The bolt is not going to come out. You're going to have to force it out. I'll show you guys how I did that using this. So this is what I'm trying to, so once you unscrew the screw doesn't just come out. You have to apply some pressure from the back. So I'm using a flathead, and I'm just basically forcing the screw out. And then that's, after some pressure, should just come out, and that's how it looks. So right now, we're just gonna try to force out the caliper. Once you take out the screws and everything, this should just come out. So now, we're gonna force this thing out. You just kick it in, back and forth, try to just shake it out. This one's gonna stay on here. The other one is gonna be on the caliper. And if you come close right here, you're gonna see there's a piston gap. This gap right here is the piston. We're gonna have to push this back. I'm gonna be showing you guys how to do that as well. And this is the other brake. You basically just pull that out. And as you can tell, that is pretty worn. So I'm replacing this right now. Alright, so try to hold the caliper. You can do this on your own. I recommend having somebody else to help you. But for the sake of this video and for beginners, we're gonna be doing this on our own. Just keep screwing it down. Your goal is to screw it onto the piston real quick. Your goal is to push that piston inwards. So I finally got a good grip, and if you look at the piston, see if you guys can get a good shot at that. As I'm screwing it inwards, the piston is going in. So you just have to repeat the process all the way down, and I'll show you guys how it looks when I finish. So as you guys can tell, the piston's been pushed all the way down. This is just the rubber that's around the piston, and you'll know once you hit the bottom of the piston because it's literally too hard to screw this down anymore. So at this point, you're just gonna have to take off the C-clamp and just take out this brake and replace the brake. Alright, so if you buy the Brembo kit, it should come with a lubricant. Yeah, so as a lubricant, you just apply it to all the tips of the, oh, this is the wrong one. This is actually the old one. You apply it to all the tips that's going to be moving in the caliper. So these guys, so it'll help you put it into the caliper. And then these sides, which is going to be moving the entire time. You don't want to have any squeaky noises, so just lubricate them pretty well. What I did is just lubricate these, and then you put it into the caliper. And then once it's in, you lubricate those so it doesn't dry off by the time you put it in there. So this is going to have to slide into there. This is a very hard thing. I'm going to need my brother to help me out on this. You need to put it in there. It's going to lock into place. When you pull it out, it's going to be really easy to pull out, so don't try to pull it out. Once it's in, just leave it in, and it should be good. But I'm going to have my brother help me put this in. It's not that easy. It's one of the hardest steps, but, I mean, anybody can do it. I mean, this is my first time when I did it, so don't feel like this is the thing that's going to hold you back. Just snap it in there. You are going to need a couple screwdrivers to help you push in the pins, but other than that, you're fine. It's not like you need anything else. At this point, we got out the old one and we installed the new one. This took a lot of pressure. What I thought was a good idea was to basically try to jam these pieces together as much as possible. Bend them a little bit. They're going to be trying to bend out slowly apart, but try to push it in before it comes back apart. And that's what we did to put this guy in. It was really hard, but forget the really hard part. It's not that hard. Just do it. It just takes a lot of pressure. I have no muscle whatsoever. So if you have a little bit of muscle, probably help out. Alright guys, so I got it off. This part you really don't have to do unless you were like me. I'm just showing you worst case scenario. You don't have to use this if you have a 7mm Allen. It's going to be a whole lot more useful for you. It'll be a whole lot easier. You don't have to take off this if you already pre-purchased like a 330i instead of a 325. I made a mistake. I didn't know there was a difference. But you know, these are worst case scenario and I'm still getting past it. So right now what I'm going to do is just add some lubricants. And then we're going to add it onto the brake. We're going to add it on both sides and just tighten in the bolts. We're pretty much done. So yeah, lubricant, put it back, screw it in, and we are done for the brakes. I'll show you guys right now. So as you can see, I lubricated these, and I added in the brake. I lubricated the brake top and bottom, and then also lubricated the back brake, and it should just slide in and sit in there snug. Now it's still gonna shake. You need to add in the 2 screws in the back, and then you need to add this piece to completely lock it in. So at this point, we're gonna be putting it in the back, hammering it in a little, then we're gonna be screwing it in. So now both screws are in there. It's not snug. We're gonna try to tighten them in just a little bit more. I'm gonna put the screwdriver in there. Once it's in there, it's gonna be pretty snug. You wanna go to the bottom and do the same. So now the brake's in there. You can tell it moves a little bit, but it's in there. You know that because its 2 screws are in there. It moves a little bit. Why? Because of this. This hasn't been put in yet. So you wanna put it back right here. Make sure the pins are on the caliper holder, and then grab your tool. Do the same thing you did, but in the opposite direction. You want to push inwards. Alright guys, so you can see it's in there a little bit. I can't really push it in my hand. I'm using a hammer. And now you can see it's in there pretty good. And the top and bottom, make sure it's holding on to the caliper holder. And you can see a caliper is not moving for the life of it. So right now we're gonna put back the caps, put on the rim, and just put a little, we gotta click the brakes a few times before we actually run the car. We gotta make sure that the pistons push back into position and they lock in pretty good. And we're gonna show you guys how to reset the brake settings. So it'll show up as the brakes are brand new instead of the brake alert that's currently showing up on your BMW. So I'm putting all the screws in. The rim's a little bit out. So I'm gonna push up the car and boost up the car just a little bit. Set up just like 2 extra levels. And just continue screwing in all the rest of the screws. So I was unable to tighten down the screws because the wheel, whenever I try to tighten it in, you can see the rim keeps moving. So we gotta lower down the wheel just a little bit, the rim. And at this point, you just tighten them all in. Make sure it's in good because that's your wheel. You don't want to fly off the road.